Well, let's speak now with Mehmet Celik, who joins us from Istanbul. He's the editorial coordinator at Daily Sabah newspaper. Mehmet, thanks for joining us. How significant is this improvement in relations that this visit heralds?
I think it's very significant. This is the third presidential visit, a third visit at a presidential level, and a presidential visit since 6 years. So, in the 1950s there was a visit. In 2017 there was a visit, and now, with the new phase of relations between Greece and Turkey, there is the third visit. I think it's very significant because there is the acknowledgement that yes, there are some disagreements, and both sides are actually maintaining their position when it comes to these differences on key issues. However, there is now the will to communicate directly with each other on goodwill, through goodwill and through a positive dialogue that could shift the focus from disagreement areas to other areas where cooperation can actually be built, be it on tourism, be it on trade and commerce, or simply on cultural exchanges. Turkey and Greece, yes, they have had very harsh disagreements on several key issues, but they also share a very long common history, and they are two neighbors that have been there for each other when the time comes, and it is a time that neighbors need to be there for each other, as Greece was there for Turkey following the February 6th earthquake. So I think compartmentalization of issues will be key to further this goodwill and positive dialogue between the two countries. Yes, the disagreements are some of the issues that have historical deadlocks, but even to tackle those, this common ground and positive dialogue is necessary for negotiations or for discussions over some of these even key deadlocks. Without this positive atmosphere, let alone the key issues to be solved, even the opportunities areas cannot even be explored. So I think this is something that will be beneficial for both countries. And it is, I find it, for the lack of a better word, absurd that two countries that have had such a shared long history, that they come to a brink of a war at times due to some of these key issues, be it in the maritime zone, be it over the islands. I think there is more to explore, and there's more to focus on in terms of positive agenda than some of these. Yes, they are key issues, but once we actually focus on the positive, I think the negatives will be. I think there will be an opportunity to better understand each other in terms of some of these disagreement areas.
And to start softly, and Mehmet, can you put this into perspective in terms of Turkey's agenda on the world stage more broadly, and what President Erdogan is trying to achieve with his current foreign policy?
The current foreign policy, as even if we go back to, let's say, the wave of normalization in the Middle East, Turkey has been in this phase of normalizing relations with some of the countries that they had very strained ties with. I mean, namely, even with Israel currently. Yes, there is a huge massacre happening in Gaza, but right prior to October 7th, Turkey had even normalized relations with Gaza, and there was talk. I mean, with Israel. Turkey has had talks with the Syrian regime. Turkey has had talks with the Armenian side. It has solved its strained and problematic ties with Saudi Arabia and the UAE, Egypt. So there is this wave of normalization, and I think Greece, as one of the closest neighbors geographically and historically, I think it is super important that this foreign policy vision applies to all countries, and this is something that Mr. Erdogan is trying to achieve, to build on these momentums, positive momentums, and strengthen ties or the existing ties, or rebuild the confidence with the countries that Turkey had problems in the recent years. This will not only elevate bilateral relations, but it also Turkey has a role, has it consider itself as a key player in the international arena, particularly in the conflicts that are affecting the global order. For example, in the Ukraine and Russia conflict, if Turkey didn't have good relations with both sides, it wouldn't be able to mediate between the two parties. The grain deal wouldn't happen if Turkey didn't have this a mediator role between Ukraine and Russia. So there is this foreign policy vision that is very based on a very humanitarian aspect, but at the same time, it focused on relationship building rather than some maximalist approach that only seeks to maintain its own interests. So I think win-win policy, win-win
Mehmet, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we are running out of time. But I really appreciate you coming on. That was fascinating insights. Thank you.